Welcome aboard the 4 to 7 pod on the Ascension Podcast Network. I'm Chris. He's Jerry. It's been a couple of weeks since we last recorded, but we are back. A lot has transpired, particularly over the last 48 hours or so. This is probably mostly going to be more of a Mets-centric episode. Because really, there's not much really to speak on with the Yankees. Hal Steinbrenner had that meeting, said basically like, I have to pay New York City $100 million every year. Don't expect me to spend money. Or don't think that I'm making money. So he pretty much played his hand, and the silence in the free agency market thereafter has kind of proven his point there so far. But maybe the biggest news though is really the not necessarily moves that the Mets made, but perhaps the moves that they didn't make, or the players that they lost over the past couple of days. Two cornerstones of the Mets franchise for the past 6 or 7 years. So with that, I'll leave the floor to you, Jerry. I would ask how you're doing, but I figure that is would be a dumb question.
Not great. Hal Steinbrenner said what he said, and David Stern said, "You mean winning actually means you have to keep spending money?" No.
David Stern said, "Wait, what? The whole city's playing broke?"
Yeah, I ain't got it.
Yeah. Maybe Steve Cohen, he's just like, I got Juan Soto and a bunch of casinos on the way, and
I'm going to need an advance on that casino money now.
Yeah,
today. The worst part of this is I have to leave Twitter open right now as we're recording here on Wednesday night because, like, God forbid something else comes down right now. I'm fearing what else this team's capable of.
Yeah, and you're not really even on the Twitter that much anymore.
No.
It's just involuntary time that you have to spend on Twitter. So that's certainly not ideal either.
As Will Salmon posited, Brandon Nimmo, Pete Alonso, Edwin Diaz, and Drew Smith were 4 of the 5 longest tenured Mets, and the 5th is Jeff McNeil, who's probably gone too.
He's probably gone. He's not under. Is he under contract, or they're going to trade him?
No. This is McNeil's last year coming up.
Yeah, it feels like a trade in that regard is coming sooner rather than later.
Those are all the Mets that were there pre-COVID. Because the next, like after that group, because I was thinking about it, I'm like, well, who's the longest after that? It's David Peterson, who debuted in 2020. And there was a report out today that they're taking calls on him, which, guys, you still got to sign a good starting pitcher. Why are you trading one of them?
Yeah, right. Yeah, what is it feels like, you said it when they signed Devin Williams, you said pretty much like, what's next? You probably wish you didn't know what was next now.
No.
But because that was kind of the whole premise with the Devin Williams deal was like, this isn't necessarily a bad deal, but it depends what you do next, and it depends of the how it looks in a vacuum with everything else. And the what was to follow really just can't really, I don't think you can really justify it. I mean,
no.
The Edwin Diaz thing, Edwin Diaz goes to the Dodgers for, I believe, 3 years, was $69 million or 66, or the Mets offered 66.
And then the Dodgers had 69.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe he just wanted to go to LA, or he just wanted to go somewhere else. Because I mean, at that point, I think if he wanted to stay in New York, he just would have. Because like, that's like a close enough offer. Like the $3 million probably doesn't make that much of a difference if he like wants to be a Met. So.
And Diaz's feels more shocking because, like, we went through this dance with Pete last year, and it's like, okay, well, he had one of his better years. Okay, I can see him like he's hoping. Okay, well, now I'll get that big contract. I don't blame him for that. Diaz got the 9-figure contract. I don't think any closer had ever gotten that before. And in the aftermath of the season, he was the one who was everything he'd said. And I even said on the show, he made it sound like he almost was opting out because that's the business thing you do. Like, okay, I'm doing this because I'm supposed to. But he'd said, like, I love being here. My family loves New York. Like, every indication was, okay, he's opting out, but he'll be back. Like, we've seen these things happen.
Yeah, like he's just re-upping.
And for now, for him to go to the Dodgers, which this is biblical greed from the Dodgers. And they might add Tarek Skubal for all we know. I've said on the show before, mentioned it last year during the Soto sweepstakes. If you see a report from David Pingalore, I mean, you want to get a vat of salt like that big. That's the pinch of salt you take it with.
Yeah.
But if that does come true, well, one, what are we even doing? But these past 48 hours, if we're back under the Wilpon control, because this is the stinginess of the Sandy Alderson years, where like it was plainly obvious that they weren't going to do it and they had to be bullied into spending it all. I mean, it felt like the 2 times the Mets had to sign Cespedes, it felt like we had to keep yelling, fix this.
Yeah, it was just like,
all right, fine, here's the contract. Damn.
It was just like insurmountable peer pressure, basically.
Yeah.
You were like the kid at the party with with the bong with an unidentified substance in it, and you're like telling someone to smoke it. Yeah. So,
but at least I will always give Sandy Alderson the credit of, you could see whenever he faced the media, he had this look of, yeah, I know, I don't like this either.
He's like, I'm doing. He was basically like, he said without saying, like, I'm doing what I can with what I'm being given.
Listen, I tried to talk them out of this too.
I think this is dumb too, or like whatever the case was. This doesn't make really any sense at all. I mean,
and then you also have, when I talk about it being the Wilpon years, you have Stearns kind of presenting the arrogance of Brody Van Wagenen of being like, oh, well, we'll just sign Carl Edwards Jr. to a minor league contract and we'll make him a starter. What the fuck did you just say to me?
Yeah, it worked so great with Clay Holmes. We'll just do it again. And I don't think it even worked that badly with Clay Holmes, but it certainly it certainly wasn't good, and I think it led to a lot of deeper problems.
Yeah, like this can't be the pivot you're making right now. This is like there's an argument amongst your friends and someone walks in, it's like, hey, y'all want me to order a pizza? No. Hey, you want to try Carl Edwards Jr. as a starter? No, we don't.
No.
How about a real one?
Okay, bet. I'll get wings too.
Dude, just not right now.
Yeah, just give me your credit card real quick.
Dude, we're talking. Not you. I mean,
yeah, no, I feel it.
It's for him to be up there after the season, be like, I take responsibility from this. I built this roster. We want to be proactive and all this. It's like, you just lost the greatest home run hitter in your franchise's history. You lost one of the greatest closers in your franchise's history. You traded one of the most productive offensive players in this franchise's history. And I know people are gonna maybe jump back at that when I say that about Brandon Nimmo, but go look at a lot of the Mets all-time top 10 categories. Brandon Nimmo's in a lot of them. And people could say, well, his defense was declining. He's picked up injuries. All of that's valid. That's fine. Does not change the fact that he has been one of the most productive offensive players in Mets history. And you traded him for a guy. It seems like it was just a salary dump, because they talked about creating all this financial flexibility. Oh, we've lost 2 less years of Nimmo's contract. Well, we're not paying Pete. We're not paying Edwin. So what the fuck are you gonna do?
Yeah,
what's the point?
Yeah, Steve Cohen is too high on like the Forbes list to be like allowing this type of management to be going this way, unless this is coming from him, which I mean, I guess he has. It seems like he's fairly hands-on, but he lets his GM do his thing, but he signs the checks, of course. So, I think if he wanted David Stearns to be spending more, even though David Stearns' whole MO has always been like, I'm going to shop in the bargain bin and find these reclamation projects and, turn relievers into starters and, just fix people with magic. But, it doesn't always work that way. And, sometimes you go to the well too many times and, there's nothing left. And that's kind of like what it's starting to feel like with David Stearns. And I know that he said, like, before the offseason started, he said that, like, the focus was going to be on, like, defense and run prevention, but, like, that doesn't mean prevent your own team from scoring runs.
I believe it was Ron Darling who said it. You're paying Juan Soto all this money now to walk 150 times a year because who's hitting behind him?
Yep.
Ideally, you're keeping Lindor in front of him. Who's protecting Juan Soto now?
Yeah. It doesn't really make sense to put Lindor behind him. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like, what does your, like, lineup even look like right now? I mean,
even for all of Brandon Nimmo's faults, he became a 25 homer hitter. That's gone.
Like, Semien, even in his washed state, like, Semien might be your 3-hitter right now.
Yeah,
if Lindor's your leadoff hitter and Soto's hitting second.
And we've seen reports today that they haven't even really pressed for Tucker and Bellinger like that. This is where I say it's like the Wilpon era of, like, hello,
yeah,
you alive?
The rabbit with the watch.
Yeah, this is like I'm checking for a pulse. Like, hello, you just let your all-time home run leader walk out you.
Yeah, and the contract itself for Pete, I think it's not crazy money. Certainly, it's money that the Mets could have afforded to keep him.
Yeah.
It's maybe not a deal that's going to age terrifically. I'm sure by the end of that, I have a feeling by the end of that contract that Baltimore is not going to be, they're not necessarily going to be thrilled with their returns, but for right now, and especially, like, since you just spent $1 billion on Juan Soto last offseason, you would think that the idea was that you were going to continue to try to compete beyond, like, a 1-year window. And I know that, and I understand, like, how, obviously with how badly things ended for the Mets last season and how badly things collapsed, you had to change something. But I don't think this is it. If you're, like, there's no way you can really say that the Mets have there's definitely no way the Mets have gotten better, I don't think, in really any category of their team from any of these moves. I mean, maybe you could say they got, a little better defensively at second, in the infield, but you have
that's not a guarantee because I said at the time of the Semien trade, the scary thing with second baseman, and I feel like this is true for second baseman more than at any other position, is when they lose it, it's instantaneous.
Yeah, it's very much
get a little worse year by year at short. That might happen. But with second baseman, when they don't have it anymore, boom.
It's like it's off a cliff. It's just gone. Yeah,
that's why before the happened, when Ketel Marte was being dangled out there, I'm like, man, he's really good, but can you promise me he's this good in 4 years? Because I don't know.
And Semien is a lot closer to the end of his career than Ketel Marte is. So,
and there is something too. I saw a lot of this today. It's like, well, the cold hard numbers say this, and this. It's like, yeah, that's fine. I've watched Pete Alonso's entire career. I remember when they drafted him. It's like, oh, he's been a power hitter at Florida. Like, all right, maybe he'll be something. There is something to the fact that the last game the Mets played without Pete Alonso being, like, an active part of the roster, and I mean, like, him being on the injured list, which he almost never was.
Yeah,
but the last game,
play like 155 games every year.
The last game the Mets played before Pete Alonso joined the team was the day after David Wright's last game. Mm-hmm. There's something to the fact that he's the bridge between that and now, and the fact that we were all I remember people were pushing for him in September 2018 to come up, and I was one of them because it was like, hey, what do you have to lose? Let's see if this kid's got it. He's been killing in the minor leagues. He's got power. See if he's something. And and when he had that first month coming up, it's like,
let him play with David Wright one time.
Yeah, and then when he broke out that first month in 2019, it's like, we knew it. We knew we were right the whole time.
I think he was. I think even like that spring training, he was like tearing it up, and like everyone kind of knew right away, like that you had something with him.
And it was one of those things. It's like, okay, he's going to be good. This kid's going to stick. We can see it. But we didn't expect him to set the rookie home run record and the franchise single season record year one. And so for him to go on this ride, that it's like
ever.
Because when David Wright retired, I remember thinking, it's like, yeah, we have Jake, but having a superstar pitcher is one thing. Like everybody always wants to have the superstar hitter. That's what sells. And it's like, man, what are we going to like? Conforto's kind of that, but he's not there. It's like, man, who's going to be the next hitter that carries this franchise? Because we've kind of always had one. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And then he just shows up. And
because it was like
he's almost always been there.
Yeah, I mean, like from like the 80s, into the early 90s, it was basically like you had the late 80s Mets, and then a few years of a gap, and then Mike Piazza. You pretty much went from like Mike Piazza to David Wright to Pete Alonso. So you always had that like franchise player that was like, that had a lot of power.
I say, hey, we got him.
Like someone. Yeah, like even if everything around him stunk, and with Pete, it really, for them, a lot of it didn't stink. I mean, some of it did, but like, like I'd say that the past, I don't know, like 2022 and 2024 have to be like, those are like two of the best 11 Mets seasons, and they both happened like within Pete Alonso's 6-year career there. So, that's a significant chunk of like your history. And now it's just,
gone. I'd have to sit down and rank it, but like when you think of the most dramatic home runs in Mets history, I mean, there ain't 5 more dramatic than the Milwaukee home run. There might not be 3.
Yeah. And like
that's there forever.
Yeah. Yeah, you always have that. And now you have the guy who gave up the home run, who has been shaky at best ever since.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. Like maybe Devin Williams is good this year because I said
I think he could be. I think he could be. And honestly, I know that we didn't get around to it last episode, and it's been a minute, but I know we didn't get around to like the keeping, like who we keep, who we cut, who we trade, but like. If we would have gotten to that segment, I would have definitely said that I would keep Devin Williams on the Yankees. Just putting that on record.
I know you and Kev were both like, all right, the final 4 months were probably more indicative of who he really is than what the first 2 months were, which is true. I know I'm not
in the 8th inning for the most part.
That was my other thing was like, if you've got Diaz for the 9th and Devin Williams for the 8th, that's a much better plan.
Yeah,
I would still be a little hesitant given how the last 12 months have gone for him, but like that's a plan.
Right.
And now it's like, well, 1, you have to elevate Devin Williams back to closer, and is he going to be all right? 2, you still got to build a bullpen behind him. Great. Brooks Raley's there, and that's a good start. AJ Minter apparently is healthier than I thought. I thought he was just going to miss all of 26. He might be ready for opening day. That would help, but you still don't have a whole lot of arms behind him that you would really trust. And the Mets really can't afford to do this thing again in 26 where they had 3 guys that they were just constantly shuttling back and forth. That didn't work. So I would hope that they bring Tyler Rogers back. Apparently he's getting pressed by a lot of teams. I would like for the Mets to bring him back. I would love for them to, if they go ahead and recreate this plan where Robert Suarez is the 8th inning guy. All right, cool. Be fine with that. But where we stand right now, it's incomplete, but it almost feels closer to completion in the sense of now you got to go fill the hole at first base. You have a hole in left field to fill.
Yeah.
What are you going to do for center field? Like you now have to hope that Carson Bench hits the cover off the ball in spring training and just wins the center field job outright so that you don't have to worry about that. But if you're a team that's trying to sell yourself as World Series contenders for this season coming up, can you really bank on the idea of a rookie winning the center field job right out of the chute?
Fuck no.
I mean, who does that?
Yeah, so, no, not organizations that are serious about winning World Series.
It's so you have to wait to bring him up. So do you want to start the season with Tyrone Taylor again?
Yeah. I'm sure Tyrone Taylor will be in the mix.
We still got to figure out the logjam in the infield because I can't imagine they're moving off Marcus Semien after they just acquired him. So Jeff is getting moved.
Yeah.
You have to think Mauricio and Acuna, one or two of them are probably gone. I believe Mendoza, or it was one of Mendoza or Stern, said that Beatty is going to see the majority of the time at third base this year, which fine. He earned that. There's every chance Brett Beatty takes another step this year because we sure didn't expect him to take that step last year, and he went and did it. And he proved himself to be a really good fielder. So, hey, who's to say he doesn't just take another step up? But there's every chance that that's just who he is.
Yeah. I kind of think it's more likely that he's probably not an everyday player than that he is. I mean, I could be wrong, but I mean, he did have some pretty brutal stretches last year too. Like, I think he leveled out and definitely had a very solid season, and you'll definitely take it. But yeah, I don't think you can really pencil him in for like 130 starts again necessarily. And then with that, like, if you're not, I mean, I know that they're in talks with potentially Wilson Contreras to replace Pete. And he can also catch, I guess. So, you get some.
Now, do you want him catching?
I don't know. Yeah, probably not. You'd probably rather just have Alvarez back there. So, honestly,
I would have Luis Torrens back there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as if you're going to have someone there with any sort of offensive upside, I would probably have Alvarez. But
it's interesting in that Wilson Contreras had a career high this year in RBI with 80.
Yeah.
His average is probably about where it's going to be. He's going to be about a 260 hitter, which probably works at first base. He's apparently a plus defender at first, which I didn't realize. I thought it was just the traditional, we can't play this guy behind the plate anymore. We got to stick him at first. Apparently plays the position well, which, hey, if you really want to sell the run prevention angle, we've said
defense was definitely on the decline.
Yeah, Pete does make plays, like probably one of the best pickers in the league, but it was the other parts of the defensive game that were not so good for him. But I do wonder, and I do think it's a legitimate concern of you'd be going from Busch Stadium 81 games a year to Citi Field. I think that's a very tangible thing to be worrying about. And
yeah, and he only hit like 20 home runs last year. Like, that's not exactly
his career high was 24, that's when he was still playing at Wrigley. So
yeah, that's not exactly really enough pop for your first baseman, especially like when you had one that would just hit like 40, like at least every year.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be replacing the greatest power hitter in the franchise's history with a decent one. And I did see this rumor floating earlier today, and I've seen some people say, hey, it's Tim Healy. How legit is it really? Apparently there was a rumor that they are considering having a platoon of Jeff McNeil and Paul Goldschmidt at first. And Chris, I don't know if you're aware, did you see the video of that plane landing on I-95?
I did, actually. Yeah.
That happened in the county where I live.
Holy shit.
And let me tell you, if the Mets go to opening day and it's Paul Goldschmidt and Jeff McNeil at first base, I'll recreate that goddamn thing myself.
Yeah. You'll somehow have to get behind the wheels of an aircraft, but I'm sure when there's a will, there's a way.
Do not doubt my want to.
Oh no, I don't. I'm just explaining, I guess, what's going to be in your, what you're going to have to get done to achieve this. I'm trying to help you, actually.
I have driven that part of I-95 many times. I was like, oh, that's exit 201. Oh, he's going southbound. Okay.
Holy shit. But yes, I did see that video. It came up on like my YouTube algorithm. Yeah, that was pretty yeah, it was pretty wild. And somehow or if it's the same one I'm thinking of, yeah, it's the one that it fell right on the car, right?
Yeah. So can you
Yeah.
imagine that person going to insurance? You mean to tell me what?
Yeah.
It landed on you? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it got
No, my
video
rates just went
evidence,
up. I didn't even do anything.
right? They do have video evidence,
Yeah,
but
there's that.
not exactly. Yeah, I would say Wilson Contreras not exactly not exactly what you want there. You know,
I mean,
from I mean
if
you'll
it's
take
between
them,
that
but
and Goldschmidt, McNeil, give me
yeah,
Wilson
yeah,
Contreras. I'll deal with
that's
it.
probably better than that alternative. I mean, I think McNeil is, he's going to be traded, and I know like that sucks in itself, but I actually think that trading McNeil is probably the right move for the Mets, especially at this point. But
I mean,
like
I
I
just
was
wonder
saying, they
what
should
he gets you back, especially now that there's diminished leverage, because a lot of teams would have to be going into negotiations
they
thinking,
should have traded him. Honestly, they should have traded him like when he was on fire, like last July, like at the deadline, like when he
I don't
was
hate
like
that.
yeah, like when he was hitting home runs like off the Yankees left and right. Like I think that's when his value would have been the highest. And I think like a month before that, like sometime in June of last year, me and Case did an episode before we were blessed with your presence, and he said, we were talking about McNeil, and I think I even said like, yeah, as soon as McNeil gets hot, like you should trade him when his value's high. But yeah, it seems like he's closer to being gone. So yeah, I mean, as far as Paul Goldschmidt goes, I mean, the first month of Paul Goldschmidt last year was pretty good. After that, no, it fell off. It fell off, and it fell off pretty quick with him. So
The other first
now,
base,
now he's what, like 38, and I would not. Yeah, I wouldn't want any part of that. And yeah, I don't think that's a. Don't think that should be a viable. Don't think that should be a viable option for the Mets either.
the remaining first baseman free agents are Ryan O'Hearn, who was good this year, but I don't know if you count on him doing that again, especially when he's 32.
Yeah, it's not especially. I mean, I
Carlos
like him.
Santana's there, but like he might retire. Yeah, you probably might just be back in this same spot again next year because he's 40. Like he might give it one more go and that's it. Like
Yeah, I mean, I like O'Hearn, but it's also like it's kind of sus that he didn't really like start breaking out and producing until he was like 29 or 30 years old.
well, I mean, it's still one of those like, hey, you just have to be happy that you're getting it now. But it's
Yeah,
also like last year was his best season by far.
right.
So it's at 32. Are you really sure that you want to bank on that happening again? Nate Lowe is on that list, who and good, but I would almost call for first base. I would say that's replacement level. He's fine. You could do worse, but Luis Arias is listed as a first baseman, which no.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Rhys Hoskins is on this list, and if David Stearns does that, I will fly up to team headquarters and I will give him a rock bottom myself.
Yeah, yeah, that just cannot happen. I don't think the phone call would be made, and I don't think I don't think he would even pick up the phone if such a phone call was made. Yeah, I mean, Low can provide Low can provide some pop, but yeah, he's basically replacement level. So like, yeah, pretty much you're pretty much just looking at the scraps now as far as first base goes. And then
either that
yeah,
or you have to bank. Like everyone's talked about the prospects, you'd be counting on Ryan Clifford, another rookie, starting at first right out of the gate. And again, if you're serious, if you claim you actually want to be a postseason team, you want to be starting two rookies right out of the chute. I don't think so.
Yeah. If you're trying to be serious about contending and and I was thinking about this too from a Yankee angle because and maybe this is a segue into. I mean, I don't know if you think they're going to get Bellinger or if you want Bellinger. It sounds like the market for Bellinger. I've heard that the Yankees offered Bellinger a 5-year deal, which I think even that's kind of pushing it. But like he's looking for a 7-year deal, and he might have offers for 7-year deals out there. So it kind of sounds like we're not gonna be super in on him. I don't know to what level the Mets are in on Bellinger. I mean, I would have to think that the Mets are gonna make an aggressive play at either Bellinger or Kyle Tucker. And I mean, a lot has come out about Kyle Tucker and why his why his market isn't really materializing the way some people may have expected it to. Like, he was kind of expected going into this to be like the top free agent available. But with everything that's come out about like his work ethic and stuff, and
Kev laying that out the other night was I had not heard that before, and I
hadn't heard it either.
I know Kev's sources are legit, so for that to be revealed.
Yeah, I mean, and John Heyman tweeted it the next day too. So I mean, it's not even like it's not even like a super big nugget at this point. It's like kind of more common knowledge. So now we're not like bullshitting you, but I think it's also a good opportunity to a little marketing 101. I think this is a good opportunity to say that you should join the Ascension Podcast Network Discord, because then you can get these little tidbits before the rest of the world finds out. So
if you enjoy educating fools on why tanking is good, feel free to join.
Yes, that's also a widely discussed topic with and you can talk to the one and only Adolis Garcia. So
thank you for bringing that back up.
There's many you could actually talk to Adolis Garcia about your feelings about tanking versus winning for the culture. So
his option got declined. So he's got plenty of time right now.
Yep, he is very free, and so is his soul.
And then he'll ask, what did this do for you?
Yeah. So that is what you can get, but you can occasionally get some information in there. But if you'd like to, join the Discord and chop it up with us and like-minded individuals.
This is a SI article, and I realize SI isn't what it used to be, but they've listed options and what do the Mets do now? And Bellinger's option 1, which there's a world where I could be talked into it. I don't know if I'd go past 3 or 4 years, and a dollar amount, who knows? Again, if it's no more than 4 years, like, okay, the number probably can't be that bad in terms of what you're giving, and I can live with that. Because again, it's someone that can play first base and center incredibly well at both positions. I have time for that. And as we talked about this when the Yankees signed Cody Bellinger last year, would I be expecting 2019 Cody? No. Would I expect him to be able to contribute to this team and help? Yes. I feel like that would be a baseline expectation.
And I wouldn't even necessarily expect 2025 Cody if he was back on the Yankees in 2026. Like, I wouldn't even necessarily expect that level output of production, but I think that he would definitely be someone who can contribute to your team and like help you win and make the final, make the full product look a lot more formidable. But I was thinking about this too from the Yankees angle, because I think like we're definitely not signing Kyle Tucker at this point, or he's like our plan B after Bellinger. But like at this point, it's like, do we even really want Kyle Tucker if like he's not, if he doesn't work hard? Doesn't sound like someone Aaron Judge would want on his team. And I'm sure they probably still have some Houston Yankees beef from back when he was on the Astros. So I don't know if he's necessarily someone the Yankees would be targeting or looking to give money, especially if they are penny pinching. It doesn't seem like we're willing to give Bellinger what he wants. So that kind of means that you're basically platooning. I would assume we'd be platooning Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones in left field if he's ready. And I just feel like right now, the way the Yankees are currently constructed, not to like hijack the conversation or anything, but the way the Yankees are currently constructed right now, I feel like Spencer Jones would kind of be, and like how he does his rookie year would kind of be the X factor as to whether you're like a legitimate contender or you're like a bubble like wild card team. And I just don't think that's a fair place to put the prospects in. It's like we talk all the time about the expectations that are put on Yankees prospects. They're already like kind of too lofty as it is. But when you also add the expectation of like, hey, like, you know, whether like how far we go in the playoffs or how far we go this season, a lot of it's going to fall on you. Like, I think that's, you know, that's also not necessarily fair. And it feels like the Mets are, you know, it feels like the Mets are kind of doing that in situations with like Carson Beige or potentially Jet Williams.
Yeah. And the fact that you got lucky once with Nolan McLean, that he responded as well as he did, like, yeah, you know, some of these guys, like if someone's a true talent, it'll shine through and they'll be able to pass those situations. But that doesn't always happen. Even players who end up being good, sometimes they get thrust.
And I'm not saying either,
early.
and I'm not saying either like, oh, you got to find like a soft, easy spot to like ease them in or transition them in. But yeah, I just think that to have the situation, you know, to have them come into that situation is asking a lot.
Yeah, and it should be one of those things where I look at like in 2015 when Michael Conforto came up, like people were looking at him to be, hey man, can you give us something? Like we need any type of hitting right now. We're not asking you to save the season. We just need you to be better than John Mayberry Jr. in left field. Can you do that? We'll take it. And the fact that he proved to be a competent major league hitter, like that helped because it was all right, cool. If all else fails, we can just put him in. We're good. And I think if you're a contending team, you know, unless you've got someone who's like nailed on, hey, yeah, this like the 2015-16 Cubs are a great example where it's all right, yeah, we can just call Baez up. We'll just call Chris Bryant up and we know it's going to work. You know, unless you're in that type of scenario, it's like to kind of push all your chips in the season.
Yeah, onto your prospects that you haven't really even, you know, some that you haven't even seen like Major League Baseball yet.
Yeah, that's, you know, guys get found out sometimes. Like even guys who end up having great careers. Like Alex Bregman was on the 2016 Astros, who were expecting to contend after they had made the playoffs the year before. Alex Bregman came up and he started 0 for 26. He was fine. Like he ended up having a great career after that. But that hurt the 2016 Astros that he wasn't good right out of the gate.
No, it didn't help them at that time. So
the other options that they have for the Mets were trade for Yandy Diaz, which he's 30. The money's not an issue. It's him being 34, where it's like, are we getting end of the line Yandy Diaz, or is he just someone who's, you know, is he going to be like right-handed Carlos Santana and he's just going to do this for 6 more years? If you could promise me Yandy Diaz would be an adequate first base placeholder this year, I'll take that. But I don't know. Munitaka Murakami, who's like the big Japanese hitter coming over. We discussed him on the last show. Yeah, I am steering clear of that with the expeditiously.
Yeah, his whiff rate on pitches over 93 miles an hour.
It was egregious.
They
have Ryan O'Hearn. We mentioned he could keep this going. There's every chance he does. There's also a chance that he doesn't. And then it also said trade for Christian Walker, who just had the worst year of his career with the hitting in Minute Maid Park, no less. He'd be going from Minute Maid Park to City. I'm still calling it Minute Maid. I'm not calling it the other thing.
Yeah, I don't even know what it's. I forgot what it's even called, or I think you told me once. But yeah,
he'd be going from Houston to City Field.
Yeah, it doesn't sound. Yeah, it doesn't sound optimal.
And then they have Goldschmidt, which, like you said, started well, but got bad very quickly. So,
yeah, this
is the corner that you've put yourself in where, you know, Pete Alonso drove over to go. He drove over from Tampa to Orlando to go meet with the Orioles. And but by all accounts, I believe David Stern said, like, oh, well, we're not worried about meeting him at this. Well, how do you feel now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, apparently they didn't even make an offer because I think that all the indications were basically that they knew that the bidding was going to go somewhere they weren't comfortable going.
Which,
like, I think they didn't want to go I don't think they even wanted to go beyond like 3 years for Pete.
there are baseball reasons for this, and this is true for all three of the departures. There are baseball reasons to do all of this.
Yeah.
But, for a fan base that, especially really since 2009, has kind of been through it, to lose three guys that, Brandon Nimmo, the Mets drafted him when he was 17 years old out of Wyoming, and he turned himself into, like I said, one of the more productive offensive players in this franchise. Like, we watched his whole career from, I'll never forget the night he got drafted. I'm like, they don't even have I went and looked up. I'm like, they don't even have competitive high school baseball in Wyoming, like the way they do here in Florida, because there's not enough high schools. They took that dude off travel ball, and I'm like, man, we're putting a first round pick on this kid, and then it took him longer to come up because they had to really build him. But once he came up, it's like
when he was there, he was there. He was ready to go. He was ready to go. There weren't really any once he got to the major league level, there really weren't any like growing pains.
No, he was just someone that was going to have a 390, 400 on base right away, and then became a big part of a 100 win team in 2022 and played a big part in 2024. Hits the home run in the 8th inning of that game 161 in Atlanta, which ended up being huge. He has the hit that keeps the rally going in game 3 against Milwaukee, had multiple big hits against the Phillies. So, has an important part of this history. And we watched
clearly that I feel like, because like he didn't have the best regular season in 24, but once he got to that once he got to the playoffs, and especially, once he hit that home run off Devin Williams, he really heated up for that playoff run. And I feel like he kind of carried that over into last season.
Oh, well, Nimmo didn't have the home run off Devin Williams.
I thought you were still talking about Pete. My bad.
Oh, no, but Nimmo had a lot of big moments in 24 too that will not go unrecognized. But I've talked about seeing Pete's whole journey. I've always said, and I know there are Met fans who are upset with Edwin Diaz for going to the Dodgers, and I get it. I don't blame you for seeing a guy go to the Dodgers to be like, really, man?
Yeah, no, that's whack.
But at the same time, he will forever have my respect because I know how shitty those first 3 years were with the Mets, and there are a lot of great closers who don't come out of a hole like that. There are a lot of great players that don't start off that poorly in New York and get out of it. And not only did he get out of it, he had 2 of the better seasons that a Met closer's ever had. His 2022 is the best Met closer season, period, for anybody.
He got out.
He's that bad, and then to get it back, that takes nerve. And I've always said, the moment that will stick with me forever is the game 161 in Atlanta where he blew the 8th, and when they got the lead back, didn't think twice. Let's say his exact words to Mendoza were, "I got this shit." Yeah. There's a lot of closers, a lot of really good ones who might not have went back out there. He did, and he handled it. So that's where, yes, there are baseball reasons to make these moves, but we watch these guys develop. We watch them go through the ups and downs. We watch this team get close, more so in 24 than 22, but we watched a 100-win team that you really get invested with these guys. It's one thing to watch a team over the course of an 84-win season when they're not really in contention. Yeah. But when a team is really good like that, or it takes you on the ride that it did in 24, you really get invested with these guys. And now they're not there. And I'm not necessarily someone that believes in the whole idea of, well, we don't want to win with mercenaries. I just want to fucking win. I don't care how they get there.
Yeah, I don't care how it looks.
But it would have been nice to see Diaz, after all of that, be the one that gets the last out, or for Pete to have another moment. Yeah, for him to have another moment like that. One of the things I always think of with Nimmo was that interview he did after they beat the Phillies, where they asked him about and you were just kind of looking around after it ended, and he was like, and because I got here the year after 2015, and I thought, this is great. We're always going to be. We'll always be in the mix for the playoffs, and we'll just always be in October. And
it's like,
you realize how hard it is. And he was just genuinely like, man, I didn't think we'd get here. Like it's stuff like that. And
Yeah.
you wanted to see someone like that, like
Yeah,
get the
you want
reward.
to
It's like,
see
man, you
them.
went through all this shit. Like you deserve the reward.
Yeah, you want to see them. You want to see them see the light at the end of the tunnel.
And Nimmo even talk about like he was legitimately thinking about trying to break the games played record for the Mets. He's like, man, if I stayed healthy, like how long would I need to get like you could tell like that meant something to him. And it's like,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
mean,
what if we won and he was a career Met? Like 9 kind of would have to go up, wouldn't it? Like I think 20 is
it
going to go up.
Yeah. I think he would. I think he would play himself. He would have played himself into, I think, retired number category. Maybe like a Hall of Very Good candidate at one point, but
For sure.
But yeah, no.
But to me, it's like, they could like, what if they sign Kyle Tucker and Kyle Tucker just goes crazy next October? I know his playoff numbers aren't great, but stick with me. Like, say Kyle Tucker just has an all-time postseason next October and wins it for us.
The October numbers, they're always bad until they're not, or good until they're not. I mean,
right.
I think
but if
Judge,
he's the one that does it,
Judge kind of took a step in exercising his postseason demons this postseason. I mean, I think it won't get recognized because it wasn't that deep of a run, but he had some pretty big hits, and their season's over even sooner if not for him.
So yeah, I get it, and there are reasons. I've seen stuff where it's like, hey, Marcus Semien was considered a leader for that 2023 Rangers team, and it's like you're not seeing a lot of Rangers fans or Rangers media talk about it, but if you go out of your way to find it, you'll see how much that they already miss him. And it's like, here's a reel of all the defensive plays Marcus Semien made in 2025. He won a Gold Glove this year. It's like you're pairing him with Francisco Lindor now. Maybe you should give that a shot. I know I've mentioned you and Kev have both been banging the drum of, yeah, don't worry about the April and May Devin Williams. Look at the rest of it. He's probably fine.
Yeah.
And there's a reason to consider that.
And I think relievers in general are like very like volatile. Like, they're kind of like, it's like kickers in the NFL. Like,
yeah,
they're gonna have their really good streaks and their really bad streaks, and a lot of it is a very small sample size because they're only giving you like one inning a night. But I think that over time, I expect Devin Williams to probably, I expect him to kind of fall like where he's kind of fallen for his career for the most part.
And there's baseball reasons to not do this Pete deal. Like you said, I see a lot of people saying, wow, the Orioles just gave themselves another Chris Davis deal, which I saw a case mentioning this in the Discord today. He thinks Pete's going to have a second place MVP finish with the Orioles. I'm not willing to go that far. He is going to be hitting the Camden Yards, though. He will have that.
I mean, he wanted to bet Kev money, or I think they're betting money on it, and I'm trying to get in on it. I want some of that action.
But yeah, there are baseball reasons to do all of these things, but I think it's because of the spot that we're in right now after what just happened. You sit there and you think, did we just throw away our shot? Like, did we just we ran it back with Soto one time and we just said, nope, that's it. Because there's also, okay, well, we brought Kyle Tucker in. All right, we'll try this. Like, right as I sit here right now, it just, all of it feels very hollow. And
yeah,
we don't know what the finished product looks like, and but it makes me nervous to think like we've heard a lot of, oh yeah, they would like to make a deal for this, but it's like you don't hear them really being on a full court press for someone, and it's like, all right, are you going to get this done or not? Like, do you actually want to win in 2026, or are you doing this thing that we saw in 2023, which is like, yeah, they know they're going to suck this year. They're
the evaluation
is really the thing.
I remember in 2023, 2023 was like the evaluation year, and 2025 was supposed to be like the year, and 2024 wasn't really supposed to be the year, but it became a year.
Yep.
And like you would think that would, number one, like, it would accelerate your timeline as far as when you expect to win. And number two, you would expect it to accelerate beyond 2025, especially when you have the richest contract in MLB history at the beginning of a 15 professional sports history at the beginning of a 15-year deal. So it's just something's just not adding up. I don't know if it's, I don't know if Steve's saving his money for the casinos he wants to build and he's done spending on the team, or, I don't know what it is, but it's
especially when you got dividends on that deal immediately. Juan Soto finished third in MVP voting this year. He's still that. Francisco Lindor finished top 10 in MVP voting this year. You have those two right now. They are as good. And, the year before, Francisco Lindor finished second. Like, you have these guys at their peak right now. Why are you trying to – well, we know it's a given he'll be good in 28. We'll build for that. Like, no, you got to go get it right now. You are not guaranteed that.
Yeah. No, not at all. Like, if the window's open, you can't – if the window's open, you have to like kind of make the most of it. You can't like shut it and try to just open it later whenever you feel like it. You gotta, when that window's open, that's the time where you got to go for it, and you got to go for it now. And it seems like right now that's not something they're necessarily interested in doing. And I think another possible domino effect of all this too is that you're also like, say you're not, maybe they'll sign Ryan O'Hearn or someone of that, or Wilson Contreras or someone of that caliber. Maybe they won't. But say you don't, then you're asking Mark Vientos to take like 600 at bats after the season he just had. Like, that's. To be, I think, to say it generously would be to say that's a roll of the dice at best.
And there were also reports this week that they would bring Starling Marte back, and it's like, you can't play him in the field. One, he got hurt while playing in the field this year. Two, like, his defensive numbers for the last 2 years have been atrocious. He's a DH. You can't punt the DH spot like that. Like, again, a good contact hitter last year, but it's like, that's kind of not what your DH is supposed to be.
Yeah, and like, I like Starling Marte, and it seems like he seems like a really good vibes guy for the team too.
Yeah,
like,
which
the
is
locker room and
which
stuff.
is fine.
But it's like, it's just like, come on, like, he's not like a viable option to be your everyday DH, and he's more of like a bench player, if anything. So
if you didn't want to keep Pete around because you thought he was going to be a DH eventually, because Soto's probably going to go there at some point, then why would you bring Marte back?
And like, say, and it's like, say, okay, so neither of us agree with the whole Nimmo for Simeon trade. Like, I think a lot of people are having a hard time making sense of it, but okay, like, let's just like, I guess, go along with it and say, okay, so you want to trade your left fielder to upgrade your defensive second base, and you hope he can rediscover some of the pop that he once had, which, it's a tall order, but I digress. At the very least, and then say you do that with the idea of making a serious run at a Cody Bellinger or a Kyle Tucker in mind. Okay, fine. But even if you do that, like, wouldn't you want to have another bat that, is like the heartbeat of your team and also gives you like, like a cool 40 home runs a year?
And I also think of it this way. You look at the NL East right now. The Phillies brought back Kyle Schwarber, and we'll see what they do with Ranger Suarez. But the Phillies are no worse off than they were when they left the field in Los Angeles in October. You can't count on the Braves having another season like the one they just had, where everything that could go wrong did, and they had unbelievably bad injury luck. So they'll probably be back in the mix. I don't know if this team's better than the Braves right now. They're certainly not better than the Dodgers. They're not better than the Padres, although the word is that the Padres are going to try to start moving salary here because there could be the potential sale coming down the pike, and we hear about
they're already kind of strapped for cash, and that's why they moved Soto. And it seems like they're still a little strapped for cash. So there's been some Tatis rumors. out there. So
And
we'll see if anything.
They have more talent than the Brewers. Arguably, are they a better team than the Brewers? No.
I don't know. Yeah, but probably not.
Are they better than the Cubs? I don't think I can say that. And, we'll see what the Reds do, but the Reds caught them. So and I know it's the idea, well, you can't say if the season started today because it's not. But
right.
As we sit here right now on December 10th, this isn't a playoff team.
Yeah.
And they got to get something done in a hurry to make sure it is.
Yeah, like winter meetings are over. Holidays will be here before you know it. So that first wave of like the offseason and free agency where you really like make your mark on what your team's going to look like in the following year, like that's coming to an end pretty soon. By
this point last year, Juan Soto was already on the books.
Yeah.
We stand here right now. Their two big acquisitions are Marcus Semien and Devin Williams, which, again, if this was supplementing what they had, sure. Yeah. But it's not. They still got more supplementing to do.
Yeah, you've definitely subtracted more than you've added, and that's what the problem is. And yeah, it's just with what you thought that this ownership and what this payroll was supposed to look like, especially after the Soto deal, to say it's disappointing would probably be an understatement. Before we transition to the next topics, I do just kind of want to give it because I feel similarly, like just from a Yankees angle, like because obviously there's a domino effect with the Pete Alonso signing with the Orioles and a team in our division, and as of right now, every team in the division has in the AL East has done something to get better, except for the Yankees. Like, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse, especially when your competition's getting better. So, like, we're standing pat, and, the Blue Jays have made moves. The Red Sox traded for Sonny Gray. I mean, we'll see what Sonny Gray he gets. By the way, fuck Sonny Gray. I got to say that.
No, I can't blame y'all for that.
Fuck that guy. We'll be seeing you. And the Yankees better, the Yankees better be ready to tat Sonny Gray up whenever they do face him. Yeah, like even the Rays signed Steven Matz. So I mean, even the Rays are like out here doing some sort of move. So yeah, it just feels like right now, even by virtue of doing.
Hold on now, the Rays move was Cedric Mullins. So.
Oh yeah, they did get Cedric Mullins. Who did the Blue Jays trade for again or sign?
They did sign Dylan Cease.
That's right.
But I do think they had another move after that where it was like, okay, all right, Toronto's being serious. And I know I said it in the Discord. I don't think we've done a show since the Dylan Cease deal, but I do give the Blue Jays.
They signed Cody Ponce,
which, for those who don't know, came up with the Pirates earlier this decade, and it did not go well for him. So he went over to the KBO and I believe was their MVP this past year. He went 17-1. Fun little fact. I've mentioned here the last year that we had a minor league baseball team here in 2016, I did the scorekeeping for them. Cody Ponce was on that staff. Ironically, so he was there for the whole year. At the start of that season, Brandon Woodruff was there. Then Freddie Peralta joined them during that season. And later on in that season, Devin Williams joined that team. Pretty wild year there.
Yeah, everything. Time is a flat circle.
Yeah, Freddie Peralta, by the way, is out there, so that would be another one of those where,
I think the Yankees have checked in on him. They've checked in on like him and Corey Seager.
If by the time we do this next show and it's the Mets signed Michael King and they traded for Freddie Peralta, I'll feel a lot different.
Oh yeah,
that would be a sign of good faith.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll still have some holes to fill in the lineup, but at least then you have some semblance of a rotation and some semblance.
That would help.
Yeah, that would certainly help. So I mean, you gotta hope or think that that's like in the cards, or that they have some sort of plan, and that they're not just that they're not just dumping salary, which is kind of what it feels like now. But yeah, if these teams could just stop pretending to be broke, that would be great. And we can continue to, we'll continue to, enjoy talking about our teams, during the season every week. So that would be nice. So I wanted to bring this up because I think JJ actually asked this question in the Discord, but I think it's a pretty interesting one. And given where the organizations are at now, um, would it make sense for the Yankees and the Mets? Would both teams be better off if they just switched front offices? Because if you think about it, Cashman has always kind of been at his best when he just was able to, when it was basically like, all right, like you have all the money in the world to work with, and you can sign whoever you want. And you can build this team however you want, and money is not a constraint on you. That seemed to be when he operated at his best as a GM. With David Stearns and the Mets front office, it seems more like finding diamonds in the rough and like identifying talent, scouting, and for what it's worth, I mean, the Mets do still have really good, good scouting, good prospect development. So I think that makes you hopeful for the pieces that are going to come up and play a bigger role this year that could maybe make the season look better than it looks right now. But yeah, with that being said, though, like with the Mets kind of being seemingly in a little bit more of a position to spend money than the Yankees at this juncture, would it make sense, do you think, for our teams to just switch GMs and switch front offices? I mean, I'm sure you take like a potato as your GM over David Stearns right now, but
yes,
yeah,
like I've said, there are baseball reasons, and I look and it's, hey, this is as good as the farm system. It's as healthy as it's been in a long time, and eventually some of these guys are going to produce at the major league level for the Mets, or they're going to be good enough that they're going to go get pieces that they're going to be good enough to be exchanged for pieces that will help the Mets right now. And I've continued to hear things where it's, hey, yeah, David Stearns hasn't been a part of the Brewers since 2022. But the reason that they've been this good and continued to be this good is because of the people he hired, not just in the front office, but like scouting, development, the people that do the grunt work, the people that aren't spotlighted. It's everything, the infrastructure that he put in place there in Milwaukee that's allowed them to keep doing this after he's gone. The guy that's followed him, Matt Arnold, he hired him. So it's, yeah, there's a lot of stuff where it's like right now, I can't see like 5 feet in front of me because I just want to win the World Series. That's it.
Yeah.
But as they say, it's like if you take the 30,000 foot view, yeah, there might be stuff that we don't see the dividends for another 10 years, but it might actually be good for the long-term health of this franchise.
Yeah, like
it's a little easier to do when you're 10 years ahead. But right now, we're going on 40 years without a World Series title, and I would like to get one before Civil War II breaks out and they make this sport whites only again. I'd like to get a World Series before that happens. So right now, I can't hit.
That would be nice. Yeah, or like you brought up 2028 before. Like 2028 is barely guaranteed at this point.
So if we had Brian Cashman right now, you know what would be in play? Tarek Skubal. You know what I know is off the table right now? Tarek Skubal.
Yeah, and to your point too, with Tarek Skubal, I know we talked about like what if he goes to the Dodgers? I mean, at this point, like, does it really seem like any other team is going to get him? The Mets aren't. The Mets aren't in on him. Doesn't seem like we're in on him. I really don't. I mean, maybe the Blue Jays. They've
like if they really want to go for broke, which
I guess the Red Sox have the prospects to make it. The Red Sox have the prospects to make it happen if they want to. So I mean, like, it's such a shitty position because it's like, like there's no. It feels like there's no winning in this situation. Either he goes to the Dodgers and like the rich just get that much fucking richer, or he's going to, our two biggest threats in our division, the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, I would say right now are the two biggest threats. I mean, the Orioles got to be considered too. Maybe last year was, they haven't really earned the benefit of the doubt, but maybe last year was just an off year for them. I'd expect them to be a better team this year. I'd expect them to be closer to the 2024 Orioles than the 2025 Orioles.
Yeah, it is one of those things that one of the things that comforts me is anytime we get in this position where we think, oh, well, that's it, forget it, they're just gonna run this shit forever. It's like everybody thought that when the Yankees got A-Rod. Like,
yeah,
everybody thought it when the Yankees traded for Stanton, where it's like, fuck, they found Judge and now they're getting Stanton off the MVP. Like, they're gonna hit 8 million home runs and they're gonna win this shit. Like, forget. Or yeah. Like, well, the Warriors are just going to win every single title. They just signed Kevin Durant. Like, this is going to go on for 10 years. It went on for 3.
Yeah. So, and then in the third year, they didn't win.
Yeah. It's like, well, the Chiefs are just never going to lose.
Yeah, they're finally falling off. So, I mean, yeah, but it's like, I don't know. With the Dodgers, it just feels a little different. They have more great players that are in their prime.
Well, I mean, we do say prime, but if you do go look at the ages on the Dodger roster, like, yeah, they might get the next 2 to 3 years, maybe. But like, let's break this down. Will Smith is 30. You never know when it goes for catchers. Mookie Betts is 33. Freddie Freeman is 36. Max Muncy is 35. Teoscar is 33. Shohei's 31. Like,
yeah, Freddie Freeman feels like
if he hurts his elbow again. If he hurts his elbow again, you don't know.
Yeah,
like Blake Snell's 33. Like, I mean, are they going to keep this going? Most likely, but you don't know. Or Tyler Glasnow, 32.
And he's already been and he's already like made of glass now. So, hey,
folks. I mean, will they go out and spend money? Sure, like, because this is what they do. But it's like we have seen that this core is guaranteed money. We know that right now, but there's no guarantee that like 5 years out, it's they went 7 for 7.
They won 5 in a row. Yeah, no, and it's probably not. I mean, I think even for them to repeat was pretty hard for them to repeat. I think
they were this close, not repeating.
Yeah, they're that close to not repeating, and I think that, and I think like even with like all these additions, it'll probably be a pretty difficult road to a three-peat. I'm certainly not going to count it out, but I mean, there's a reason it hasn't been done in 25 years. So yeah, I mean. Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't expect it to, I wouldn't expect it to happen for the next 5 years, but it does seem like they're, it seems like, especially with the lack of salary cap and floor, that the Dodgers are just kind of, like it feels like they're head and shoulders like above everyone else as far as like acquiring players, and just the whole operation just seems like head and shoulders above everyone else. Whereas, like, yes, the Chiefs have definitely been like the best team and, the best team in the NFL the last 5-6 years, but also like it feels like there are a lot more teams that are like closer. And also, now the
Dodgers are the perfect case for what we thought was supposed to happen. You hire Andrew Friedman, who had been able to turn out rosters and contenders for years in Tampa with even tighter shackles than what Milwaukee has. And it seemed like Andrew Friedman realized, like, oh, I just have a never-ending pile of money. It just keeps printing money whenever I want it. Great.
Awesome.
Shohei, you'll do what? You'll defer? Sick. You got yourself a goddamn deal.
Yeah.
And I can do this with David Stearns was going to do.
I can do this with all your friends too.
And I think we thought that's what David Stearns was going to do, except he still thinks he's in Milwaukee. And the most frustrating part of this is he says he was a Met fan. I know he was looking at the Wilpon years. I know he was. How are you going to keep acting like that? How?
Don't you get it?
Hey,
Don't you get it?
this was everything I wished for, was to have an owner this rich. And yet we still have the people in charge behaving like that.
But apparently he doesn't. But I guess for me to answer the question that was presented, I think that I don't want David Stearns being anywhere near our team, but could a potential switch of someone with that kind of philosophy be more beneficial to our team right now than Cashman is? I think that's a possibility, and that's something that could be entertained. I mean, if we're not the if Hal doesn't want to if Hal doesn't want to spend like that, and he doesn't want to be in on all these marquee free agents that are gonna really put your team like over the top, and you're gonna be making more like savvy moves and stuff like that, and having to find those diamond in the roughs and scout more. I do think our player development system could probably use an overhaul.
I feel like this was something we talked about recently, and with Spencer Jones and Dominguez, is that the problem the Yankees, maybe the biggest issue they've had during Judge's time, is that they just haven't had other guys deliver on rookie contracts. And like you said at the time, you don't expect them to do what he's done, but you want to have guys at positions where it's, okay, cool, we don't have to pay him for another 4 years, or at least give him that second contract, but we're getting good production out of him right now. They haven't had that.
Like complementary pieces. Like with the Orioles, it's like, all right, they don't have 5 Gunnar Hendersons, but they have Gunnar Henderson, like
Jordan Westburg.
Yeah, and then they have like Jordan Westburg. They have those complementary Adley Rutschman. They have those complementary pieces. I mean, we'll see if Adley Rutschman like returns to form. But
this may be a good case for where Stearns would help. Is they listed this with the Cody Ponce news, is they said, check this out. This was the Brewers 2016 top 10 prospect list. I'm not going to read all of them, but Orlando Arcia was one. The Brewers didn't get it right, but he did become a major league all-star. Brett Phillips was number 2. Had a very important moment in the major leagues. Jorge Lopez was 3, but whatever happened there. Josh Hader was 4. Trent Grisham was 5. He was a first-round pick of theirs. Cody Ponce was 8. I believe he was a 3rd or 4th round pick of theirs. Devin Williams was 9th. So I just listed all of those. And someone else went on to say that doesn't even include Brandon Woodruff, Adrian Hauser, Freddie Peralta, Mauricio Dubon, Lucas Ursig, who I believe was a position player at that point, and now is a good reliever. But I just listed all those names, and none of those were the names that the Brewers ultimately traded to get Christian Yelich. That's the type of farm system that David Stearns developed. And I think if you're the Yankees, man, you'd love to have 3 or 4 of those guys that I just listed, whether they're hitters or pitchers. You'd love to have 4 of those right now, instead of where you're just like, we've been banking on Spencer Jones for 2.5 years now, and he's still not up. And man, if Spencer Jones isn't hitting 600 right out of the gate, then throw him in the trash. It's already done. And I'm not saying you or anyone in the Discord feels that way, but I feel like the population at large feels that way.
Yeah, that's the way the population
Jones doesn't hit like 2017 Judge, it'll be for naught.
Yeah, or even like if Spencer Jones, we're at a point where it's like, if Spencer Jones isn't a contributing factor in 2026, like, we might not make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the thing. But it's having guys that can contribute for you, or having enough depth in your system to be able to go. Like I remember when the Brewers traded those 4 for Yelich, they'll probably win that deal. Yelich is going to be one of those guys, and maybe the change of scenery will help him, because the thing with Yelich always was like, man, he does everything else. If he just had any power at all, he'd be great. And then as soon as he got out of Miami, it happened.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was, well, a couple of those guys should stick for Miami. Like Monty Harrison's pretty good. Lewis Brinson's supposed to be this and this. And Jordan Yamamoto's been a good pitcher in the minors. Like Miami should get some value from this deal. They got none. Absolutely none. Monty Harrison is now a wide receiver in college football. I'm not making that up.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, from that standpoint, absolutely. Stearns or someone like Stearns could help like replenish this farm system. And I don't think our farm system's necessarily bad right now. You know, we have some prospects, but it's not super deep, and it feels like we're banking a lot on Spencer Jones and George Lombard when he's ready. So,
and I've thought about this, and this isn't even necessarily just about Lombard, but I feel like a lot of this is about prospects now, maybe more than ever, is even 20 years ago, like if you were George Lombard and you were a top Yankee prospect, people would know about you, sure, because of the Yankees.
yeah.
But you would be able to develop at your own pace. And if you had a bad night, all right, well, I'll play tomorrow.
So be it.
Now,
Yeah.
when you go, it's like all the eyes, wherever, when you're playing at home or when you're on the road, there's more coverage now to prospects and minor league players than ever.
Yeah.
And so now, like, every little thing gets noticed. It used to be if you were a prospect, like, you could have a bad month and people weren't going to be like, oh, was this dude just cooked? Like, what do we do now?
Yeah, it would be able to fly a little more under the radar. Now, like, yeah, if you're like whiffing in AA or if you're hitting bombs in AA, like there's footage of it. You know, there people are gonna, even like the average, even like the average baseball fan, like the average casual baseball fan will see it and probably know who you are.
I saw Astro fans during this season taking victory laps because they're like, well, they traded Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford just sucks at AA, so we won the Verlander trade. And it's like,
yeah, everyone. Yeah, everyone loves to just anytime a clip comes out, everyone loves to just react, and everyone's pretty desperate to just win the trade when you probably got to at least give it like 3 to 5 years to see who truly won a trade in baseball.
Yeah, and it's I feel for it, especially when you're a Yankee prospect, because there's always going to be more people at these games, more people watching, because it's like, all right, well, who's going to be the next one? Who's going to be the next super?
Especially with like in the situation with Lombard, because obviously like playing shortstop for the Yankees, like we expect every shortstop that comes up, we expect them to be Derek Jeter. Like that's like what the hope was with Volpe, obviously, and now it's like oh, not only do we expect you to be Derek Jeter, but like in a way, like if he is following up Volpe, like if he's not like if George Lombard coming up means like the end of Volpe, which I mean the end of Volpe really can't come soon enough, but that's not that's neither here nor there. But say we have to say Anthony, which I think is probably the most likely situation as of right now. I would say that Anthony Volpe is going to be pretty much the everyday shortstop in 2026 and likely 2027 as well. At least the start of 2027 until whenever Lombard's ready. And then when Lombard's ready, he'd replace Volpe. So it's like, not only is it like the whole, oh, you're a Yankee shortstop, like you got to be Derek Jeter, but it's also like, if you suck, like we just dealt with like these past 3-4 years of Volpe. So like, you're not going to get any, like, we're not going to cut you any slack, basically. Like it's like Volpe's, his lack of production at the position. If Lombard gets off to like a slow start in his career, almost like that's going to kind of be held against him too, and that's not really fair.
And the kind of tag to my point is, I wonder how much of that he's already hearing now. Like,
right.
When he goes over and signs for the kids before the game, which every minor league player does, how many people are over there being like, hey, man, you're going to be better than Anthony Volpe, right? Like, hey, man, we wish you were up there right now. Like,
yeah, like, hey,
I wonder how much of that lingers where it's like, fuck, I better be good.
Yeah, it's like, and he's like 19 years old. It's like, man, I'm just like, it's like, man, I'm just a kid.
Like, man, I'm trying to figure this shit out too. Like,
hey, I barely got my driver's license. God damn it. And you're talking about
drink yet? What do you?
Yeah, like Yeah, like I haven't even been to a strip club, and you're talking about me being the next Derek Jeter.
Is-
Okay.
You didn't- what is a gift basket? What am I supposed to do? Actually, we ain't got to go there. We ain't got to do that. But no, I do think that is a fair point because, we all hated it at the time, but every year, when Cashman could just go to the ATM and listen, there is, people can say like, oh, well, he could just flash the money. It's like, we're seeing it right now with the Mets. Like, there have been plenty of guys that they want. And I know Kev will bring this up, but there have been plenty of big money guys that they wanted and did not get.
You still have to build a team.
Yeah. So, but every year you knew if the Yankees wanted someone, they were going to go get him. We got stung by pitching in the playoffs. All right,
like we're
getting him.
Yeah, and they may not have even always made those moves may not have even always worked out. Like we traded and signed a lot of pitchers that I wanted that, by the time we got them, like they were no longer very good. I mean, we tried the Javier Vasquez experiment with the Yankees twice.
Yeah.
Kevin Brown, he fell off a
Carl
cliff.
Pavano.
Carl Pavano, the corpse of Randy Johnson.
I will say, I looked at Randy Johnson's numbers as a Yankee. They weren't nearly as it's like Wizards Jordan. It's not as bad as I remembered it being.
Yeah. I think
it wasn't that Randy Johnson.
I think I think that, and because of like how that year kind of transpired, I feel like it gets remembered worse than it actually was.
Like with Jarrett Wright.
We traded for
God was my favorite.
We traded for Esteban Loaiza at one point at a trade deadline. And I remember being like an Esteban Loaiza fan and being like excited about it. And then I think it was 04 or 05 we traded for him. And then,
04.
And then he came to the Yankees and he sucked.
Esteban Loaiza had a lot of fans in the Bronx. They just weren't at the stadium, as it turns out. But I do have to imagine that there is some comfort in knowing, like, okay, this particular facet of the game is what kept us short this year. All right, cool. We're gonna address it. We're gonna try to fix this. Whereas here we are, we're on December 10th, and it's the pitching stunk. We've got to go get this. And it's okay, well, they got a really good reliever. All right, good. The bullpen stunk. That was part of it. It's like, yeah, but you just lost that cog, and you haven't fixed the rotation at all. It's like I thought we were supposed to be this. I thought we were supposed to be the one of like, all right, get me the best thing I can find. We're gonna go plug this issue right now, and here we are. I feel like Yankee fans are probably like, man, it'd be nice to have one of these prospects hit again. And I'm sure, and I know maybe a lot of Yankee fans won't say it publicly, but they probably look at other teams that have that kind of depth in their farm system to be like, man, why can't I get one of the? You look at the Dodgers. Yeah. It's like Pages comes up and took him a little bit, but he was an all-star this past year. Or the Dodgers always have enough prospects to go get somebody they want. Even though we've seen time and again, when the Dodgers offer you prospects, say no, because it doesn't work.
But except for the time they traded Yordan Alvarez to the Astros.
Well, I mean, I'm saying, but like the
Scherzer
trade was supposed to be one of those, and it hasn't worked out for Washington at all.
Yeah.
There's been quite a few of those where the Dodgers have made the trade, and I mean, yes, they did trade Yordan, they did trade O'Neal Cruz. I feel like they've gotten better at that since.
Yeah.
Like what they said to the Orioles for Manny Machado, I can't even name.
Yeah, no, I have no idea.
Exactly. So it just having that to be able to have the depth to be like,
or even to have the
starter. Here you go.
Yeah. Or even to have like the depth in your prospect pool where you could actually be in the conversation to pull off one of these trades, like to get like a Paul Skeens or a Turek Skubal eventually. Because I mean, like, is there a possibility that the Yankees trade for Paul Skeens? Maybe, but it's going to definitely deplete the fuck out of our farm system. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but it is what it is what it is. It's going to deplete our farm system, rightfully so. Like, he'd be worth it, that type of player, but or even, but like right now there are several teams, I would say, that are in better positions than us to acquire like a Tariq Skubal or Paul Skeens type of pitcher right now.
I mean, I think it was either Heyman or Sherman during this past season. And I'm not saying this like, throwing it as accusations, but that they're probably getting this from people in the organization. They were out here saying, oh, well, the Yankees wouldn't even trade Spencer Jones for Skeens. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, the Pirates aren't going to do a straight 1-for-1. So, yeah, you're done there, because what else would they want from you? If you're not willing to hand over your number one prospect, okay, then what's your 2 through 10 like? If you don't even feel confident of handing that over, then why even have the call? Whereas I could sit here as a Met fan and be like, well, I mean, I'd hate to move Tong and Sproat, but only fair. They're giving us the best pitcher in the sport. We should give them 2 who might be pretty good. You know what? We probably should add Jet Williams to that. And you know what? Throw AJ Ewing. You know what? No, Jacob Reimer too. This is Paul Skeens we're talking about. We can do that type of deal. It's fine.
Yeah.
It'd be like, man, that'd be a pretty big pinch to give up. But
yeah, for us, it was like,
Skeens, I'm doing it.
Yeah, for us, like, I mean, it would have to start with Jones and Lombard, and probably one of like our other top prospects, like one of our top 10 or 15 prospects.
Well, I mean, and you'll look back at all the different trades that the Yankees made in the early 2000s, where it was like, I forget what the trade for Kevin Brown was, but it was like they had Brandon Whedon as one of their prospects. It's like, here, we'll take Kevin Brown.
Yeah, here. Yeah, exactly. It's like, here, you want a future Browns quarterback?
Or maybe the most famous one that I didn't know until I saw the 30 for 30 short. But when they did the player to be named later in the A-Rod trade, Robinson Cano was in that, I don't know if you call it a queue or a database, but like they had to submit a list. Robinson Cano was on that list, and the Rangers passed.
Like he was one of the potential players to be named later.
So that deal could have been Soriano. I don't know. I can't remember who else the Yankees had in that deal. But it could have essentially been Soriano and Cano for A-Rod, which if you're Texas, call that even.
Yeah, I think it probably. We probably don't win a World Series in 2009 without Cano.
Yeah. But like just the fact that he was even there and like could have been someone that was moved for A-Rod, and the Yankees were just like, oh yeah, we do have him down there. Huh.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, we could do it.
Yeah, we've kind of had a hole at second base since we had to move Soriano. Let's give this Cano kid a shot.
Yeah, just like, or like, even just to be able to have the luxury to like be able to like make that type of player available in a trade of that magnitude.
Yeah, that's where you want to be. And I feel like most Yankee fans probably, if they may not say it out loud, I feel like they would be like, man, yeah, just having quality instead of having to put all our hopes in 2 guys.
Right.
And not hope, you don't want to have to be in this position where, like you said, where, whenever it's time for Lombard to come up, it's, hey, I mean, at least be better than Anthony Volpe. And Anthony Volpe, I remember, was, maybe doesn't have as much hype as Lombard does right now, but I know he was someone that they were like, all right, well, when Volpe gets here, we'll just plug him in there and we're good. Like, it
feels like every
type of confidence in him.
It feels like every prospect is like more hyped than the last one. Like the way they were hyping up Dominguez and what he's and like Dominguez, I think can still be like, I think Dominguez can still be like a serviceable part of this team, and I think he could be like, a net positive for this organization. But the way they were building him up, like calling him like the Martian when he was 16 years old, and showing videos of him, so like, yeah, just kind of I'm not saying it put undue pressure on him. He may have just not he just maybe didn't pan out to just be as good as people thought he was going to be. But it really does seem like it's always the next prospect with the Yankees. Like they always seem to get more hype than the previous one. But before we close, we'll discuss the one singular Hall of Fame inductee for the class of 2026. So that one man is not Barry Bonds, but the guy that they pitched around Barry Bonds to get to, Jeff Kent, in the Hall of Fame.
I want to credit my friend Nick Simon on Blue Sky, who said, actually, let me make sure. I want to pull this up correctly because it was a very good post. I want to make I don't want to do him the disservice of not having this correct, but this was one of those things where we thought the veteran committee was going to fix these type of things, and it just hasn't. Oh, so credit to Nick Simon for this. All right, we've honored your request in inducting an NL MVP from the Giants in the early 2000s, who was also a total jerk.
Yeah.
Wait, everyone's still mad. What's happening?
Yeah. I mean, I hope Barry Bonds was doing okay the day that news came out. So I know that him and Jeff Kent didn't necessarily they didn't really get along, and
they did not.
If I was Barry Bonds, I would definitely be feeling some type of way if he got into the Hall of Fame over me. And honestly,
I would feel like they were sending me a message if I was Barry Bonds. Like,
oh yeah, no, it's like not only are we like excluding you, but like we're going out of our way to include your worst enemy who was like a direct beneficiary of you. And to Jeff Kent's credit, like I do think he does have a case to be in the Hall of Fame. He's got a 55 WAR. He has almost 2,500 hits, 290 average, 855 OPS, 123 OPS plus, over 1,500 RBIs and over 1,300 young runs scored. And with the Hall of Fame being more like the Hall of Very Good, and the fact that he had such a, the fact that he played for 17 years, I definitely think that from a numbers standpoint, from a peak standpoint, like the peak of his career, and just like the overall body of work, I do I don't think he fell off. I don't think he really fell off a cliff at the end of his career. Like he had a couple all-star appearances like in his late 30s too. So I think like the overall body of work is worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. But it's certainly an interesting choice where to have him in when the guy who was hitting in front of him that they were pitching around to get to Jeff Kent, who, in my opinion, I think Barry Bonds is the best baseball player of all time. So it's just interesting that you put Jeff Kent in and Barry Bonds can barely get like 5 votes or 5% of the vote.
And to add to that is Barry Bonds is considered, and I know maybe not towards the end, but over the majority of his career, to be one of the better defensive left fielders ever.
Yeah.
Maybe the metrics aren't perfect, but this wasn't quite the era where they just gave the Gold Glove to whoever the best hitter at the position was. Barry Bonds played a very good left field. And yet
it wasn't necessarily just a popularity contest at this time.
Yeah, like those were legit.
And that reflects as such because Jeff Kent has 0 Gold Gloves.
Generally considered one of the worst defensive second basemen ever.
Yeah.
And this isn't even hindsight. I remember that was getting brought up
like during
when he was winning his MVPs. It was, but you got to factor in the defense with him. He's a liability there. So like people said this while he was playing. So the batting numbers for sure. Yeah.
It's not even just like looking back on his career with like the advanced metrics.
Yeah, a force at the plate for sure. He even, I know people will say that his 2000 NL MVP should have went to Bonds, and that's another discussion. But he was good enough to be in that mix, and he was
Yeah.
good enough to be, the Giants got this close in 2002. He was a big part of that lineup. He went to the Astros during their contention in the 2000s. He was a big part of that. So, like, he was doing this on very good teams for a long time. A great hitter, no doubt. And obviously, not every player that's in the Hall of Fame is an all-time great defender. We know that. But second base is supposed to be one of those positions that almost every player who gets in who's a second baseman could handle themselves there.
You gotta be.
Might not have been Roberto Alomar, but you had to be good.
Like obviously, like, if your defense, if your defense was, not quite up to the standard, like, but you were a great hitting shortstop or like a great hitting catcher or center fielder, like there could be an argument made when you're playing like those harder positions. But when you're playing second base, like, it's a given that you're supposed to hit number one. And then, you have to have at least like above replacement level defense. So I don't know. I mean, I would give him the nod, but there's definitely arguments. There's definitely arguments to be heard about that. And like, if you're gonna keep Barry Bonds out for steroids, which I don't think they're keeping Barry Bonds out because of steroids. I think they're keeping him out because they don't like him and they don't like the way that he talked to them when he was playing.
Which makes this all the crazier because this was another one of those things that isn't like, hindsight. I remember
everyone made an exception for David Ortiz. No one really cares about that. And Manny Ramirez should be in the Hall of Fame too.
But to further this, I remember when Jeff Kent was playing, he was considered a jerk then too. Like, this isn't going back and recasting. Like, no, everyone said that in real time, that it was like, he's kind of a prick. You don't really want to deal with him.
Like, that's why him and Bonds beef so hard, is because they were just two assholes.
Jeff Kent allegedly got injured riding a motorcycle and then tried to pass it off that he was just washing his car. Like,
come on, man.
For real?
Yeah. I'm sure you, a professional athlete, and granted, I know that, in this time, I mean, I'm not saying this is like when athletes like smoked cigars like on a regular basis, but, I'm sure like athletes, at this time maybe weren't in as good a shape as they are now with like all the advancements we have in sports science and everything. But still, it's like you're an athlete in peak physical condition. I'm so sure that you just like pulled a muscle or like fell while you were cleaning your car.
Yeah.
Or like take your shit to a car wash. Like, you can, I promise you can afford the $14 car wash, which was probably like a $7 car wash in the 2000s.
Which is why I respect Clint Barmas for not trying to he's like, no, I was trying to carry some deer meat. I can't even line my way out of this one.
Yeah, definitely so I mean, I'm okay with Jeff Kent getting into the Hall of Fame, but definitely an underwhelming class. It seems like we have more and more of these as of late, where it's like only one or two people a year are getting in.
Well, this was only the Veterans Committee, so the traditional
the real vote
BBWAA is next month.
That's right. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I thought it was weird that Jeff Kent got like that. I was like, wait, they already had the Hall of Fame voting, like, because usually it's in January. So
no, the traditional, I don't know what you would call the ballot that goes out in January, but that one, well, I guess it's the ballot for the baseball.
Yeah, the ballot where you pick 10 people.
Yeah, that one's always in January, and then you have like, so I guess this one was the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee. That's the one that just happened. So you have those, you have the Veterans Era, and then I think they have one for like the ones that were in like the 1910s or 1920s, where it's like, hey, we forgot about Spuds McGillicuddy.
Like we got to get some posthumous in here.
Also, I'm surprised we looked at this ballot. You haven't mentioned Don Mattingly. Only got 6.
Oh yeah, I'm a bit of a Don Mattingly hater.
I know a few Yankee fans who are. So Carlos Delgado only getting 9. I'll always go up for him. It is crazy to me how consistently good Carlos Delgado was until literally his hip gave out, and it wasn't even like he had a decline. Like, go check his 08. Really good. Couldn't finish 09 because his hip gave out, and that was it.
Yeah.
So he was consistently great for a decade plus and fell off the initial ballot pretty quickly. I don't believe he's fallen off this one, but still should have been in.
Yeah. I think if he was able to muster up like 30 more home runs to get to 500, I think he would have gotten in, but maybe just the unceremonious ending and kind of falling shorter. I don't really know. I don't think there's really a good reason why he's not in the Hall of Fame. They should probably they should probably address that.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to be sitting here in about a month's time looking at I'm looking at the BBWAA ballot. Carlos Beltran probably goes in because he was pretty close last year. Andrew Jones, I would hope, goes in. Chase Utley might, and I think I've said it on this show. And if I haven't, stop me. But I did see Chase Utley did an interview this past year where he kind of expanded a little further on that play more than I've ever heard him talk about it, and actually showed some remorse. Not complete, but he gave an answer in that interview that I thought, wow, if he had said this 10 years ago, like, I'd feel very differently. I think a lot of Met fans would feel, maybe they wouldn't be like, whatever, but I don't think we'd want him in prison. It would be more like, okay, that was a fair explanation. Sucks it happened, but okay. I can't deny the talent, though. A-Rod and Ramirez are on here.
Can't deny the numbers and the body of work with Utley.
Yeah.
Yeah, A-Rod and
Ramirez. Not
really
really a lot of newcomers on here this year for the BBWAA. Well, here's the list. Ryan Braun's on here. He ain't getting in.
No.
That is not happening.
Yeah.
Shin-Soo Choo, I would put in the Hall of really good.
Yeah.
Edwin Encarnacion, good.
Yeah, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. For me, it would be because I got the list up too. My 10 would probably be King Felix, Andy Pettitte, Bobby Abreu. Give me Mark Burley. Give me Cole Hamels. How many is that so far? Bobby Abreu, Felix, Andy Pettitte. Bobby Abreu, Felix, Andy Pettitte, Cole Hamels, Mark Burley. So that's 5 right there. Give me Manny Ramirez, A-Rod. Utley probably has to get in. David Wright. And my 10th would probably be Andrew Jones.
Okay. As I look at this, Beltran should be in. Andrew Jones should be in. Utley, I'll lean yes. Just again, one of these standards for second base. Like anytime you had the discussion at a certain point in the 2000s of who the best second basemen are, you didn't get maybe 3 names in before you mentioned Chase Utley. Sometimes not even that many.
Yeah.
A-Rod on numbers has to be in. And I'll reiterate, my official stance on steroids is they were fine with it until they weren't.
Yep.
Where I'm at. So put A-Rod in, put Manny Ramirez in, put Pettitte in. Sure. Let me see. How many is that total? That is 3.
I think we got 6 so far.
Felix, yes. Felix should be. Although I was having this discussion with my friend Anthony Archis and my friend Pete Steinman. And Pete had a point that I kind of agree with. I don't think Felix can be in before Johan's in. That needs to get corrected.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I respect it.
Burley's a borderline case. I don't know if I would put Burley in, but if he got put in, I wouldn't be like, oh man, how can you do that?
Yeah,
I would understand the case. That one makes sense to me. So that's 7.
Or I think
David
you're at
Wright's
8.
going to be in my Hall of Fame, so I'm putting him in there. I don't know if he'll get a ton of votes, but I kind of think Torrey Hunter is someone who had a better career.
Oh, I like Torrey Hunter. I would put him in.
If Andrew Jones is the best defensive center fielder of our lifetimes,
Torrey Hunter's
what? Between him and Griffey and Trout, but he's in the conversation, I think.
Yeah, and he has enough, and he did enough offensively that I think he deserves to be in.
So that was okay. So that leaves me with one more. Ooh. Listen, you asked me to put Chase Utley in, and I'll do it, but I do not have to put Jimmy Rollins in there. What I will
no,
not.
You absolutely do not have to do that. That's not.
Bobby Abreu is something. You know what? Yeah, I'll put Bobby Abreu because he's one of those where it's like you knew he was good watching. Like you knew, yeah, that's an all-star. But when you go back and look at the totality of it, it's okay. Yeah, that guy was even better than I realized. I think.
Yeah.
I do think it's kind of a fallacy sometimes where it's like, well, either you knew a guy was a Hall of Famer or you didn't. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Sometimes guys slip through the cracks where it's like, yeah, I probably should have noticed him more often. It's like, oh, wow, that guy threw for 80,000 yards and 400 touch. Yeah, I probably should have given him more credit. Sometimes we get things wrong. It happens. So I know Bobby Abreu maybe didn't get the kind of headlines and pub that maybe he should have while he was playing, but we can do that now. We can absolutely put Bobby Abreu in.
He was just always a very good player.
It was just he would never have an outlier year where it was like
he was never like it was never like, oh, Bobby Abreu hit like 50 home runs and won the MVP this year.
But he would be in top 10 of MVP voting. He'd be between 8 and 10, but he would never be between 1 and 3.
Yeah.
And I think we lose sight of the guys beyond the top 5. And it's like, no, if you were good enough to be top 10 in MVP voting, you're really goddamn good.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I would put Abreu in. And his defense was really good too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Abreu was just someone who was just very it was just very enjoyable to watch him play the game.
That was another one of those that when the Yankees made that trade, I was like, oh man, you're adding Bobby Abreu to that lineup? Damn.
Yeah. Oh, I was so hyped because I always loved Bobby Abreu, and I didn't even really think that something like that would happen. But then it was like, damn, now he's on our team. Sick.
That's it.
But yeah, I think that about wraps it up. Unless you have any final words or final thoughts.
No, that's I mean, we got a few more World Baseball Classic names in there, but maybe that's we might have to do something for that this year too.
That might be a thing. What's that?
That might be after something that we cover as we get closer to it is World Baseball Classic.
Oh yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Especially if our teams aren't going to give us anything good to talk about.
I know that's right. Joe Buck's in the Hall of Fame. He won the Ford Frick Award, which he deserves it.
He does.
He's really grown on me. I'll give him that. I am sad though because I know Gary Cohen was one of the nominees for it. So of course, I want him to get that while he's alive. There's a lot of guys who have gone in after they died. I want Gary Cohen to have that day so he can experience it.
Yeah. I want that. I don't want that to happen for Gary Cohen posthumously. I mean, I do think that Joe Buck definitely deserves it. And he probably, I don't know, he probably has less, I mean, who knows, but he's probably further up there than Gary Cohen is, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like it's probably, he probably should get in before Gary Cohen.
Yeah.
But Gary Cohen should get in.
Buck, I get it because he's more nationally visible. And he basically called every World Series for 20 years. So you look and you think, he called the World Series after 9/11.
Yeah, and he
called all those memorable
he would call it
03 and 04.
And he would call either an NLCS or ALCS every year too.
He called the Cubs winning. He called the Red Sox breaking that. There's so many monumental moments in the history of the game that you're going to associate. And I think that's maybe Joe Buck's biggest. Like, I appreciate just the job that Gary Cohen does, but I think Joe Buck has maybe the best characteristic that you can associate for a broadcaster.
Yeah, he immersed himself as part of those games and part of those moments. Like
when you hear him, it's a big deal. You know something.
Like the game, yeah, like the game tying home run in like the 1996 World Series, like the back, like I just know that as like back at the track at the wall, we are tied.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or like Boone hits it to deep left. Like he says, like you could say one of those phrases and like you'll remember exactly what game someone's talking about.
Brian, this is a tough play.
Yep.
Yeah, this was a pretty strong list. I'm actually looking at it. They had Brian Anderson on this. Brian Anderson's was nominated for the Ford Frick Award. John Sterling was on here. Like I said, John Sterling is he was the radio voice for the most visible franchise in the sport during one of their most successful periods. On the strength of that alone, yeah, I would support that. Dan Schulman, underratedly great. I know he had the unenviable task of following John Miller. Dan Schulman, I wouldn't mind getting there. Dwayne Kuiper, who's one of the Giants broadcasters, wouldn't hate that.
Yeah, the Giants always had great announcers. Yeah, Joe Buck. I hope John Sterling gets in. I hope that happens soon too, because I think he deserves to like see that. He deserves to see that moment for himself.
I also respected Joe Buck that I found this out years later, but he used to he would honor a bet every year, or Conan would honor this. Conan would basically tell Joe Buck, like, if I give you this phrase or this word and you slip it into the broadcast at some point during the World Series, you name the charity and I'll donate. I forget what the amount of money it was, but it was like a decent amount of money. Like, all right, as long as it's good. If it's not dirty, he's like, well, no. It's going to be something nonsensical. Right. But you're Joe Buck. You're calling the World Series. You have this grand voice. And if I just give you something silly to say, it'll be funny to me. And he's like, all right, deal. And he would come on in the offseason after the World Series, and they're like, "What, folks, you're not going to believe this. Joe Buck actually did it." They just run the clip, and it'd be like, Francis is 1-2, and that's fouled in the seats down the right field line, and we'll send it to our little Jub, Chris Myers, down in the first base dugout. And he's like, "Folks, I told him to say Jub during the World Series. Here's a check for your charity." So the fact that Joe Buck was like, obviously a model professional, but like didn't take himself so seriously that he wasn't above doing something like that, I respect.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So that's definitely well deserved for him. So, and I was actually mistaken that Gary Cohen is actually older than Joe Buck, but I guess just the national visibility, I think, is probably what puts Joe Buck
fair.
Further up in line. But that's pretty much it. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're following, make sure you're following us. Make sure you're following MIPod69. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
See you.